Welcome back. Continuing our special coverage for the first phase of the elections of the House of Representatives inside of Egypt, which is taking place for the second day today. We are very much delighted to have with us over the phone Mr. Mohamed Sheta, our media expert. Mr. Sheta, good afternoon to you.
A very beautiful good afternoon to you and your distinguished viewers.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sheta. Always a pleasure to have you with us. Mr. Sheta, how do you see the importance of the parliamentary election, the elections for the House of Representatives taking place in Egypt for the second day, which is the first phase indeed?
I think any election anywhere in the world is extremely important. And we have, currently we have the elections going on in Egypt. Yes. We have the elections going on in the United States of America as well. Yes. And you can see from the media coverage worldwide that every country is looking very much forward to the elections of other countries as well, yes, because this will have a very direct input on the relation even between the countries themselves. So, yes, so this is, first of all, a very important step, because the members of the parliament, which will be elected in the Egyptian election, they will have a very important role to decide in what will happen with inside Egypt as well as with the foreign policy of yes, Egypt as well. So, so this is definitely a very, very critical time in Egypt. We know all the conflicts which we have next to our doors. We have the conflicts going on in Libya, for example, the conflict in Syria, the dispute over the water reservoirs with Ethiopia as well. Yes. So this is why it's extremely important to have a big participation at this current election, so that the majority of the people can choose their representatives in order to represent their opinion and their demands in the parliament as well as yes, for the government.
Yes, how important is to hold the parliamentary elections following the Senate election, Mr. Sheta, of course, which was held recently in Egypt, and we have seen the first session of the Senate resuming last Sunday for the first time since 2013.
I think the elections of the first chamber and the second chamber is extremely important. We have this experience in Egypt already several years ago, and of course, due to the circumstances we had since 2011, yes, we had some modifications in the parliamentary system. But nevertheless, it's extremely important to have also something like an advisory board for the parliament, and I think this will only have a positive impact on both chambers, and consequently on the benefits of the Egyptian citizens as well.
From your point of view, Mr. Sheta, why is it important to have both chambers of parliament existing? What is the importance for the political life in the country?
Well, it's definitely enriching the political views of both sides, and as you know, our newly elected second chamber of the Senate, it has representatives from all the different sectors in Egypt. We have representatives from the culture sector, from the film, from the drama sector. We have lots of actors, lots of writers, celebrities. We have young businessmen as well represented in this chamber, as well as the experienced businessmen. So I think it's very important to have a huge variety and selection of different representatives of the Egyptian community, which will definitely at the end will be very beneficial for the Egyptian parliamentary role. And thus at the end also for the Egyptian consumer and the Egyptian citizens, of course.
Indeed. Mr. Sheta, how do you see the importance of the media coverage for the parliamentary elections, and beforehand, of course, increasing the awareness about the importance of the participation in the voting process for the sake of the country and its political life? What's your take on that?
Well, actually, to be honest, I personally was not so happy with the media coverage which we had. Okay. Of course, we had some TV channels, like, for example, Nile TV, and all the other Maspiro channels who were covering the election and the pre-election time in a very intensive way. Nevertheless, what I was missing from other TV channels was a more thorough and a more detailed coverage, not only on the elections itself, but also on the members who are preparing to be elected. Because actually,
the candidates here. Yes.
What I was missing was to read more about the programs of the different persons.
Yes.
Like, I'll give you an example for myself, for example.
Yes.
I have no idea who is representing, who is running for the parliament in the area where I'm living, for example. Yes. I tried to look it up on Google, and I tried to look it up on the different TV channels and radio channels to see what those representatives are representing in their program. But unfortunately, I was not very lucky, you know. So hopefully in the next years to come, the members of the parliament, they would
do better,
invest more time in preparing and showing the program to the public and explain to them more what their plans are for the next election.
Indeed, Mr. Mohamed Sheta, our media expert. Always a pleasure to have you with us and listen to your precious input. Our dear viewers, with that we come to the end of our special coverage for the first phase of the elections of the House of Representatives inside Egypt, which is resuming for the second day today. Thank you very much for watching, and in a few minutes we'll be live with you with Panorama News, so stay tuned on ICB International.